I was walking past a toy store the other day, just window shopping, and I saw this massive Hulk action figure,
Oh, yeah.
front and center. I mean, the full works. Giant green fists, teeth gritted,
Mm.
veins popping, smashing a little plastic wall.
Of course.
And I just stopped and thought, that is it. That is the cultural shorthand we all have for this character.
It's the universal symbol for, like, anger management issues. You get mad, you turn green, you break stuff. It's simple.
Exactly. It's the Hulk smash meme. But then I looked at this stack of research you sent over for today's deep dive.
Right.
And we are talking about the complete life history here, spanning decades of comics, the MCU. And I realized that action figure is basically lying to us,
Well, it's telling a very small part of the story.
or at least a much bigger, much darker story.
It is a massive oversimplification, for sure. If you actually engage with the source material, I mean, especially the runs by writers like Peter David or Al Ewing,
Yeah.
you realize the Hulk isn't an action hero.
And he isn't really a monster either.
Not really. This isn't a story about punching tanks.
Yeah.
It's a biography of a fractured psyche. It's like a 60-year-long case study on trauma and survival.
That is a huge pivot. We're going from, summer blockbuster smash 'em up to psychological horror.
And family tragedy.
And that is exactly what we're unpacking today. Our mission is to debunk that idea that the Hulk is just a smashing machine created by a bomb, and instead figure out who he actually is.
And to do that, you have to look at the man inside the monster, Bruce Banner. And you have to accept a premise that the comics established a long, long time ago. The monster didn't start with the accident. The monster was there long before the gamma radiation ever touched him.
See, this was the part of the research that honestly shocked me. I think most people, myself included, have this default origin story in their heads.
Right. Mild-mannered scientist.
Mild-mannered, happy scientist, has a bad day at the lab, boom, he's the Hulk. But the sources we have go back way further than that.
You have to ignore the gamma bomb for a few minutes. To understand the Hulk, you have to go to the nursery.
The nursery. That sounds ominous.
It is.
So, part one, the man before the monster. What does the complete life history tell us about Bruce's childhood?
It paints a horrific picture.
Yeah.
The true villain of the Hulk's life isn't Thanos or the Abomination. It's his father, Brian Banner.
Okay.
Brian was a scientist, brilliant but deeply, deeply disturbed. He was obsessed with his own work in atomic energy and became paranoid that his exposure to radiation had mutated his own DNA.
So when Bruce was born.
When Bruce was born, Brian didn't see a son. He saw a mutant. He was convinced the boy was a monster from the moment he took his first breath.
Wow. Imagine growing up in that environment, your own father looking at you like you're a failed experiment.
It was worse than just looks. I mean, the source material details severe physical and emotional abuse. Brian was terrifying. He beat Bruce, he isolated him.
Right.
But the defining tragedy, the moment that I would argue actually created the Hulk, happened when Bruce was just a child. His mother, Rebecca, was the only source of love he had.
And she tried to protect him.
She did. She tried to pack their bags and just run away.
And Brian caught them.
He did. And in a fit of rage, he killed her. Right in front of Bruce.
God, that's heavy.
It is incredibly heavy. But you have to look at the psychology of that moment. You're a small child, completely powerless, terrified.
Yeah.
The sources emphasize that this is where the fracture happens. Bruce's mind literally shattered to cope with that pain. He developed dissociative identity disorder, what we used to call multiple personalities, decades before he was ever a superhero.
So wait, you're saying the Hulk, or at least the idea of the Hulk, was a coping mechanism?
Precisely. It was dissociation. The Hulk is the manifestation of the rage a child feels when they can't fight back. It's the part of Bruce that says, I am not weak. I am the strongest one there is. No one will ever hurt me again.
And that persona was just sitting there, waiting.
Waiting for a way out, yeah. Long before you became a scientist.
That completely reframes the accident. So the gamma bomb didn't put the monster inside him.
No.
The monster was already there. The bomb just opened the door.
Exactly. The bomb was the key.
Let's talk about that key then. Part two, the gamma accident. We all know the setup, but let's look at it through this new lens.
Okay, so Bruce is an adult now, working on the G-bomb for the military.
And he's repressed everything we just talked about.
Oh, completely. He's shut down, emotionally distant. Then a teenager named Rick Jones rides his bike onto the test site on a dare.
And this is the moment of heroism. Bruce doesn't hesitate. He runs out, throws Rick into a protective trench, and just takes the full blast.
And scientifically speaking, a blast of gamma radiation that high should have vaporized him. instantly.
Right. Usually radiation kills you. It doesn't give you abs.
It should have left a shadow on the sand. But this brings us back to his father's paranoia. Bruce
Yeah.
did have a unique genetic potential.
But the radiation.
The radiation didn't create the personality of the Hulk. It took that fractured psyche, that dissociated rage, and gave it physical form. It made the invisible visible.
And this gives us the Savage Hulk, the classic green Hulk smash version.
The Savage Hulk is fascinating because he behaves just like a child. He has low intelligence. He speaks in broken sentences. He throws tantrums
Why?
because he is the child. He is the manifestation of Bruce's childhood rage, suddenly given the power of a nuclear weapon.
That makes so much sense. Hulk smash isn't a battle cry, it's a toddler's tantrum.
A very, very big tantrum.
But here's the dynamic I found really interesting. The military hunts him, the world fears him. But the person who hates the Hulk the most is Bruce.
It's the central tragedy of the character. Bruce calls the Hulk a curse. He spends years trying to cure himself, to kill the monster.
But you're saying the Hulk is just a defense mechanism.
The ultimate defense mechanism. The trigger isn't just anger. It's adrenaline. It's fear. When Bruce is threatened, just like when he was a little boy, the Hulk comes out to protect him.
So Bruce hates his own bodyguard.
He hates the bodyguard because the bodyguard represents the trauma. He reminds him of the pain.
And what about the Hulk?
The Hulk. The Hulk despises puny Banner. He sees Bruce as weak, as the one who just sits there and takes the abuse, forcing Hulk to come out and deal with the messy reality of survival.
That relationship is so much more complex than just Jekyll and Hyde.
Oh, way more. It's two sides of a trauma survivor fighting for control of the steering wheel.
Speaking of steering wheels, that brings us to the system.
Yeah.
This was the part of the research that really surprised me. I just thought there was the Hulk. You know, maybe a green one and a gray one.
Right, if you play the video games.
Yeah.
But the comics introduce this idea of the system. A whole cast of different Hulks living inside Bruce's head.
Because of the dissociative identity disorder.
Exactly. If you accept that premise, it makes sense that he'd have different alters for different needs. The Savage Hulk is the angry child. But as Bruce got older and his needs got more complex, the system expanded.
Okay, let's do a roll call on these because some of them are just wild. The notes mention Joe Fixit.
Joe Fixit. He's the gray Hulk. He's smaller, gray-skinned, and not nearly as strong as the green one. But he's smart, and he's mean. In the comics, he actually worked as a mob enforcer in Las Vegas for a while.
Wait, hold on. The Hulk was a mobster in Vegas, like wearing a suit.
Pinstripe suits, fedoras, the whole 9 yards. He had girlfriends, he rigged card games.
What part of Bruce's psyche is that?
Psychologically, Joe Fixit represents Bruce's repressed teenage desires. The urge to be selfish, to get the girl, to make money, to be cool and morally gray.
So he's the bad boy.
He's the part of Bruce that wants to be the bad boy, yeah. And then on the completely other end of the spectrum, you have the Devil Hulk.
This one sounds dark.
It is the dark one. The Devil Hulk, who becomes very prominent in the Immortal Hulk storyline, is this reptilian nocturnal figure. He represents a twisted father figure.
A father figure. Considering his actual father, that sounds dangerous.
It is. The Devil Hulk wants to protect Bruce, but his version of protection is terrifying. He's the one who says, I will destroy the world before I let it hurt us again. He loves Bruce, but it's a possessive, scary love.
And then, just on a power level, we have to mention the World Breaker.
That's exactly what it sounds like. That's the Hulk. When the rage is so absolute, he emits radiation that can crack tectonic plates just by walking. That's the nuclear option of his personality.
It really drives home the point that Hulk isn't one thing. It's a spectrum of survival strategies.
And if you want proof that this is psychological and not just about the gamma rays, you have to look at the control group.
His family.
Specifically his cousin, Jennifer Walters. She-Hulk. Part 4.
Right. She's mainstream now because of the show, but her origin in the comics is critical for this.
It really is. She gets shot by mobsters, totally unrelated to Bruce, and is bleeding out. Bruce is the only match, so he gives her an emergency blood transfusion.
So she gets the gamma-radiated blood directly into her system.
She does. She transforms. But think about how she transforms. She doesn't turn into an incoherent rage monster.
No, she keeps her brain.
She keeps her personality. She becomes a high-powered lawyer who just happens to be 7 feet tall and green.
So why the difference? Why doesn't she lose control like Bruce?
Because she didn't have the fracture. She didn't have Brian Banner as a father. She had a relatively healthy childhood.
So the radiation didn't find a broken psyche to exploit.
Exactly.
Okay.
It just enhanced who she already was. Confident, capable. It proves that the monster part of Bruce isn't in the blood.
It's in the mind.
That is the smoking gun for this whole theory. The gamma just amplifies what's there. For Jen, it's confidence. For Bruce, it's trauma.
And while we're on family, you mentioned Hulk is actually a father, too.
It's a deep cut from the comics, but yes, Skaar and Hero Kayla, they tie into what is arguably the most epic storyline in the character's history, Planet Hulk.
Okay, let's pivot to that. Part 5, Planet Hulk and World War Hulk. This feels like the genre shifts from superhero to, like, a sci-fi epic.
It really is Gladiator meets Star Wars. It starts with a betrayal. A group called the Illuminati, basically the self-appointed managers of the superhero world, like Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic.
Doctor Strange.
They decide Hulk is just too dangerous. They can't control him.
So they decide to evoke the ultimate HOA complaint policy.
Essentially. They trick him onto a shuttle, say it's a mission, and then just shoot him into space.
Wow.
Their plan was to send him to a peaceful, uninhabited planet where he could just be alone.
Sorry, buddy, you're too loud for the neighborhood. We're evicting you to another solar system.
Pretty much. But because it's a comic book, the navigation fails. He gets knocked off course and lands on Skaar,
And that's a brutal world.
ruled by a tyrant named the Red King. But instead of being a victim, he thrives there. For the first time in his life, his strength isn't a curse. It's an asset.
So he goes from slave to gladiator.
The revolutionary leader to king. He actually finds peace. He marries a warrior named Kyera.
This is the only time the monster found a home. He was accepted.
They called him the Green Skaar. He was a hero there. But this is a Hulk story. It can't end happily.
Whatever.
The shuttle he arrived in, the one the Illuminati built, it malfunctions. Its warp core goes critical. It explodes with the force of a nuclear bomb. It wipes out the capital city. It kills his wife, Kyera, who was pregnant with Skaar at the time.
Wow, so he loses everything. Again.
And he blames the Illuminati. He thinks they rigged the ship to blow to finish the job. This triggers the World War Hulkers.
Return to Earth.
But he doesn't come back as a mindless beast. He comes back as a general leading an alien army. And he systematically dismantles the Marvel Universe. He beats the X-Men. He beats the Avengers. He makes Iron Man bleed.
It's the ultimate revenge fantasy. But looking at the notes, there's a twist that just breaks your heart.
The twist is gut-wrenching. He eventually discovers that the Illuminati didn't rig the ship.
It was sabotage.
By one of his own allies on Skaar, who wanted to keep the war going. And when Hulk finds that out, the rage just collapses. It turns into grief.
It always comes back to that, doesn't it? The anger is just a shield for the hurt.
Always. He wanted to be angry because being angry is easier than being sad.
Now, if we thought World War Hulk was intense, the sources take a hard left turn into what looks like a horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
Part 6, The Immortal Hulk. This is recent stuff, right?
Very recent. Written by Al Ewing. It's critically acclaimed. And it redefines the biology of the Hulk. It asks a terrifying question. What if the Hulk literally cannot die?
I mean, superheroes come back to life all the time. It's practically a job requirement.
Oh, like this. In this story, if you shoot Bruce Banner in the head during the day, he dies. He goes to the morgue. He's clinically dead.
Okay.
But when the sun goes down, the green door opens. The Hulk resurrects the body. He claws his way out.
That is visceral. That sounds more like a zombie movie or body horror.
It's body horror. It's Cronenberg-level stuff. And it expands the lore to include this cosmic entity called the One Below All. It suggests that the gamma radiation connects Bruce to a sort of metaphysical hell.
So the Hulk isn't just a science experiment anymore. He's almost theological.
In a way. He becomes an agent of judgment. This version of the Hulk is articulate, cruel, and focused on punishing the wicked. It just strips away the superhero veneer. It's about the horror of being a creature that cannot die.
Trapped in a cycle of violence. It's amazing how elastic this character is.
Because the core metaphor works in any genre. The monster within is a universal concept.
So let's bring this back to what our listeners have probably seen on screen. Part 7, the MCU journey. How does the movie version Ruffalo and Norton stack up against all this?
The MCU does a great job of streamlining it. You see the arc clearly. In the 2008 movie, he's a fugitive, terrified of himself. In the Avengers, he learns to aim the weapon.
Right. That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
Iconic line, and it is. That's him acknowledging the trauma is permanent. Then you get the Ragnarok Gladiator era, which is a nod to Planet Hulk.
It's a very funny nod.
And finally, in Endgame, you get Smart Hulk.
Where he merges the brain and the brawn. He's wearing glasses and cardigans, but is still giant and green.
Right. He stops fighting the monster and integrates it. It's a resolution. It's a happy ending where he accepts himself.
It does lack the gritty horror edge of the comic.
For sure, and some fans think it was a bit too easy, but thematically, it hits the right note. Integration is the goal of therapy, after all.
So when we look at this massive stack of history, the abuse, the altered, the Space King, the immortal horror, what is the synthesis here? Who is the Hulk, really?
If you take one thing away from this deep dive, let it be this. The Hulk is not a villain, and he is not a curse.
Even though Bruce spends 50 years saying he is.
Bruce is an unreliable narrator of his own life. The Hulk is the inner child. He is the part of Bruce that was hurt, the part that is furious about being hurt, and the part that refuses to let anyone hurt him again.
The notes sum him up with 4 words.
Survival, pain, justice, endurance.
He's the callus that forms over the wound.
That's a beautiful way to put it. He's ugly, he's tough, and he lacks sensitivity. But he's there to keep the soft tissue underneath safe.
It really changes how you look at the character. You're not cheering for a monster to punch a bad guy. You're watching a broken man's psyche try to keep him alive.
And that is infinitely more compelling than just big muscles and green skin.
Absolutely. Well, we have covered a massive amount of ground today, from the abusive household of Brian Banner to the gladiatorial pits of Skaar and the Green Door.
It's a heavy biography for a character that started on a comic book rack in the 60s.
It is. It's a journey that mirrors the complexity of the human mind. We are never just one thing.
We are our trauma, our coping mechanisms, and our hopes all wrapped up together.
That brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. We've established that the Hulk is a monster created to protect the host from pain.
So here's the question we want to leave you with. If the Hulk is what Bruce created to survive his trauma, what monsters do regular people create to protect themselves?
Right. Do we build walls of cynicism? Do we become aggressive? Do we become, overly funny to deflect criticism?
And do we hate those parts of ourselves, just like Bruce hates the Hulk?
Yeah.
Even though they're just trying to save us.
That is something to chew on. Maybe be a little kinder to your inner monsters today. They might just be on your side. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Green Goliath.
Keep reading.
See you next time.